January 15th, 2017, and I've just returned with a wedge of pizza, a slice of pizza if you prefer, from Whole Foods, and these are the notes that I took while I was out on the gym, and I can address those now. You know, I spoke yesterday on the Earth Cam about that I use the treadmill in reverse for a couple of reasons. One is I don't have to look at the time every 5 seconds. And you know, if I'm watching the TV on the treadmill, which sells me makeup, has me concentrate on before and after pictures of women, and then I'm like, oh hey, well I've got dark circles under my eyes, maybe I do need some makeup, and see how easy it is just to brush that on with a blush. And but I find if I'm not looking at the TV screen, looking at the TV screen on the treadmill tends to make the time of exercise go faster. Of course, then it sells me something. But I turn around, I reverse for two reasons. One, it's good for my patella tracking, as my hamstrings are stronger than my quads, my quadriceps, and I have a little chondromalacia, which means it's a wearing of the bursa sac, the shock absorbers around the knee. And walking backwards is great for your patellar tracking and strengthening the quads. The other reason I do it is I don't have to, when I reverse walk or run, I don't have to look at the screen or the time, this signature of time. It's like, oh, we're not there yet. There, it's relative to what I want in terms of I want to be on the treadmill 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I imagine the treadmill's timeless. So, you know, unless we were to put a signature marker on it by our desire, by our goal. And what I like about being on reverse in the treadmill is I don't have a screen. I don't have a time signature for me to meet or not meet. And I have to, when you're walking or running on a treadmill in reverse, you have to think about balance. Be all and CE. You have to think about balance when you're going in reverse, where you can't see, all right? And I find that that is a good utilization of my time, not to think about the time I'm exercising. And it's, I'm more about the dynamics of balance. And if I get good at it, I don't have to chart my eye actively off the edge of the treadmill, making sure that I'm on it and I'm not off the edge. I can start to look up and go backwards. And there's always the handrails, you know, if I need them. So let's see. There's that. The other is I was thinking to myself, what I'm doing here, without debate, is I'm protecting my D, I-N, N, E-R-E, my D inner and my D diner. Respectfully. Okay. be at. So those are my notes. They're written on a unused checking deposit slip, as I do carry some of those in my CR. And let's see. Okay, pizza wedge or pizza slice. This came, we can say, I was going through Whole Foods. The first thing I see are in the foyer of the sliding glass doors opposite each other. There's usually plants, and they had plants, and they've got cute little primroses for $2.50 right now. I checked to see what kind of light they need, because that's always a consideration for my apartment. Ah, that's weird. I'm going to send it to answering. It would be a robot reminding me of my doctor's appointment, because I'm like, why is a doctor calling me on Sunday? It's a robot calling me. So anyway, primroses like part shade and cool weather. Who knew? So that could have been a candidate here, but then I saw the jade plants, and I haven't had a jade plant for a while. And I think the jade plants are $10 for a pot. It's not very, it's a little pot. It's small, medium-sized pot, but I've had jade before. My last jade plant in the apartment went to Jody, Trader Jody, that I worked with at Trader Joe's, and when she helped me move my mattress and some of my belongings here. And then I kept my other jade plants at Andy's, and they grew into small little trees or bushes before they got fungus. They got fungus all over them, and they just weren't keeping. It was a white powdery substance, and you know, you try and clean it like you're dusting, and then it just goes everywhere, and you're just like, hey, if it's not good for the plants, I don't think that's good for me to breathe either. So I've not had a jade plant. Knowing how easy they are to grow, you can take a leaf of a jade plant and you could amble. You stick that in dirt, it's probably going to root, and it's going to start you a plant. You just need one leaf. And so I was looking at the jade plants for sale, $10 a small medium pot, and I saw one that was rotted. It was rotted at the attachment to what would be going under the dirt, and so I twisted it off and I carried it with me. Now, what I'm going to do with it, I'm going to cut that, I'm going to deadhead it. I'm going to cut that rot off, and I'm going to put it in dirt, and I'm going to grow a plant out of it. And I didn't pay anything for it. And I didn't steal from Toff, apparently, because that plant was rot. And given enough time, it would rot off. Rot toffed, rot offed. It would rot into nothingness. And I'm bringing it into somethingness. Now, if I tell you that I took a piece of rotted plant off at Whole Foods, and you didn't see it, am I lying? Am I lying if I write it and leave it lying about? Is it rightful for Whole Foods to, or anyone legally to claim that because I turned the rotted plant into a whole plant, that I have ripped them off? That I've ripped them off with something that was going to be tossed? So, on the way, I carried this little piece of plant, and then I was looking for something to eat, and I got my pot stickers to put in the freezer so I could mix with rice and veggies easily. They're still on sale, $2.99 a bag, and I get about two dinners out of them, so it's a pretty good value that I enjoy eating. And then I'm like, you know what? I actually tried their vegetarian pizza. It's pretty tasty. So I thought, you know, I just finished my workout. I enjoy eating at home in the sense that I made me something. The tortilla, black bean, arugula, roasted butter squash with ancho chili sauce. I have enough to run that theme for the whole week if I want to, but I thought, well, you know, shoot. And it's kind of a bummer because once you dip into something, you dip into something else. But I spent some money today, even though I've got food in the fridge I can work with. So I'm mixing it up. I got a pizza wedge. And on the way to discovering maybe I want pizza, maybe I don't, I'm like, you know, rather than ask anyone at Whole Foods if it'd be okay to have that rotted piece of plant, I just put it in my pizza box right here. So pizza wedge is a great container, and it's got a little rot on it. It's got a little segment right here. Cut below the segment and cut the rod off, and we've got a plant that will take root. Jade is that easy to grow. We can stipulate the ethics. Well, let's take a step back. This plant's made in a petri dish, so I'm told by someone who used to make these, you split the cell and the atom. You do it in a manufacturing setting to get these plants to you at that price. So, and the person that I spoke with who shared this information thought it was really, well, he thought it was abusive. You could say abusive to the plants, but perhaps abusive to our sensibilities, that we don't really know all the engineering we don't see that goes into producing our sustainable means in living. So I thought on the way home of sharing or not sharing, but I wanted to share because you're going to see that plant here. I'm starting a new jade plant. I'm going to grow it in my own place. It will not get fungus. The fungus I studied, it was caused to still air. So my great plants got great lighting at Andy's house, but in winter he would close a door so he wouldn't have to heat it. And I think that's the still air that caused the fungus to basically deteriorate the value of the whole spectrum of that plant. I couldn't, if I tried to clean the white fungus, it would dust onto all the other leaves. It was futile, and I didn't throw it away right away, but the more I dusted it, the more I kind of studied what I'm working with, I'm like, it's futile to even touch it, because it just, you know, if it's not good for the plant, I don't think it's good for me. So we took it outside in a thicket and we dumped it. I dumped it. He's got a little thicket between the trees and a partial fence line and accumulation of natural debris. Twigs, sticks, leaves, pine needles. We put it out there. in between his neighbor. Filled the gap, as it were, with the presence of the gap. It was already observed. Oh yeah, okay, we go.